The first thing we're going to talk about is the difference between wool and felt. Wool and felt are similar products, and the important thing to remember about them is that it is not what they are made from, it is how they are made. Wool is a product that they take the wool from the sheep, weave it together, and shrink it. So this is shrunken felted wool. They then dye it. It is 100% wool, and the important thing to remember with wool or felted wool is that it is woven and shrunk. Here you can see a couple of wool pieces, and you can even see kind of the lines of the weave in the piece. This one you can definitely see because it created a fun pattern. Felt is when they take the fibers and they mush them all together and press them into a sheet. Now, felt can be made from 100% wool. It can be made from a combination of wool and synthetic fibers, or it can be 100% synthetic, which is what you will typically find at Joann's or Michael's when it's like 25 cents a sheet. So if you're finding felt that is 25 cents a sheet or less, it is 100% synthetic. I do not recommend using 100% synthetic felt or the really cheap felt because it will fall apart on you very easily, and it also tends to melt when you apply a hot iron to it. Now this is felt that is 80% wool and 20% synthetic. And this is what I use quite often with my projects because I like the texture of it, and I also like the variety of colors. So you can see here, it is pure white. Typically with wool, it is really hard to get a white wool because sheep are not 100% white. They kind of have a yellowish tinge to them. So if you're looking for a variety of colors, then felt might be a good option for you. You can mix them. I've had students where they've mixed felt and wool together in a project and it looked just fine. But they do look a little different because you can see this is just a sheet, and this you can see the texture and the weave. So that is the difference between wool and felt. Remember, it is not what they are made from, it is how they are made. How they are made. Woven and shrunk is wool. Pressed and mushed and put into a sheet is felt. Either one works as long as they have wool in them and they do not have 100% synthetic fibers. I do have a couple of examples that you can see here of how projects might look different with the two different types of materials. So this little egg here is made with wool. You can definitely see the weave in that flower there. And this little egg here is made with felt. You can also see the difference in the whites. This one is a bleached white, but it's still a little creamier looking than that white of the felt. So wool and felt. With these little guys here, we have wool. This little snowman's made from wool. And this little snowman is made from felt. Again, you can see the difference in the whites. You can see there has a lot more variety of color. Wool, typically the colors are a little darker, tend to be a little more primitive because they are dyed. And so the dyeing process tends to create darker types of colors. But you can often find some softer pastel colors, but you can't find as bright or the variety of colors that you can find with felt. So there we have it. You have your wool, you have your felt. Whichever one you choose to use is up to you. Felted wool is typically what I will use with all of my projects. And remember, it is how it is made, not what it is made from, that differentiates between the two.